today's video, we are going to talk about my pitch for Iron Man 4. Subscribe to Screen Dreamer for more amazing pitch videos. We all love Iron Man from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As you may know, that Iron Man met his demise in Avengers End Game. Iron Man returns to the MCU for his fourth Marvel movie, The Iron Man 4. I know this is one of those scenarios, just like Rocky 7. It's best to live it where it is. But the fun thing about a fan is we can dream as much as we want. Iron Man coming back would definitely be an incredible scenario that could shake up the MCU. And this concept's biggest idea besides bringing back Iron Man is to see the real Mandarin that we saw from Shang-Chi versus Iron Man go toe to toe. That's right, I think this is just such a brilliant idea that Iron Man and the Mandarin are big nemesis in the comics. So the concept begins. We get to see Marvel Studios logo. Instead of showing other Avengers, we would see all Iron Man moments in the MCU. And then the title Iron Man 4 logo shows up. And then right away, we get a flashback from Avengers End Game. The scene where Iron Man is going to snap his fingers. He saves the universe, and Thanos and his armies are gone. Then we see the scene in Endgame when Iron Man is about to die, including the deleted scenes from Avengers Endgame. When Tony passes away, it's an emotional scene. And then we transition to the aftermath of the funeral of Tony Stark. The screen goes black. We get to see the Sword headquarters in space, formerly known as S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we get to see Nick Fury. And then as a surprise, Phil Coulson, that's right, Agent Phil Coulson appears where they discuss the possibility.
Good morning, Director Fury. I understand you started the program to potentially save a mortally wounded Avenger.
Of bringing back Iron Man using the same technology that brought back Phil Coulson. This was the idea of Phil Coulson himself, using the Kree blood the same way that Nick Fury brought back Phil Coulson, courtesy of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury tells Pepper wasn't sure if that's a good idea.
You would have done the same thing.
15 years later, the humble home of Tony Stark, where we get to see Tony Stark's daughter. Morgan Stark has already grown, and she will be played by Catherine Langford from 13 Reasons Why. And now the doctors, the scientists are now working to bring back Tony Stark, and they got some Kree blood ready. Long story short, Tony Stark wakes up.
6 p.m. yesterday evening, you were executed and pronounced dead.
Hoping you'd come back.
You have reached the life model decoy of Tony Stark.
A couple months later, we hear Back in Black music playing. Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, is back.
Look at you. You okay?
I'm alright. I'm alright.
Do you want a drink?
No.
And we get to see him drive his favorite car, the Audi R8.
We take it back to something simple.
Sometimes you gotta run before you can walk.
And then we get introduced to the villain of this movie, the real Mandarin from Shang-Chi. The Mandarin is alive, but the celebration cuts to an end when Tony learns that the Mandarin is now the new owner of Stark Industries.
Who is this guy?
Should we at least lawyer up and threaten legal action or something?
And it gets even worse after Tony learns that Pepper and Bruce Banner are now a couple. And problems after problems comes to Tony Stark. Tony is very frustrated. He is angry, but he lost his wife, he lost his business, everything, his money, he lost all his wealth. Tony Stark has lost all that he has owned. Now Peter Parker learns about this and he decided to help. So he actually goes to the Mandarin's mansion and tries to talk him out. And they had a brawl. Spider-Man versus the Mandarin fights. Spider-Man was actually so good that the Mandarin has to think outside the box. And he actually uses one of Iron Man's suit to fight him. But Peter Parker could not get the win. And then it gets even more intense when Tony Stark confronts Bruce Banner. Tony Stark wears his Hulkbuster to fight once again the Incredible Hulk. So the Hulk and Iron Man fights each other once again and they wreck the whole city. Now all this was all planned by none other than the Mandarin. The Mandarin looks at the news and smiles. This is where Spider-Man actually goes to Tony Stark, but he doesn't, tell Tony that he's Peter, that they knew each other. He's just a regular Spider-Man, a hero. Tony knows Spider-Man exists, but he doesn't know Peter Parker exists. But he felt that this kid seems like he knows. We get to see Peter tearing up, that he wants to tell Tony Stark so badly that he knows him, who he is, Peter Parker, but he didn't. He decided to simply tell him the truth. Peter Parker found out the truth, that it was all planned by the Mandarin, so he tells Tony Stark the truth, that the Mandarin all planned this up. And there is a chance that they could get their company back. So after that, after Tony Stark learns the truth, Tony Stark learns that his daughter is missing and has been taken by the Mandarin. Spider-Man says he wants to help, but Iron Man says he wants to go alone. This is his fight. He goes after the Mandarin and they go for a big fight. The real Mandarin versus Iron Man. This is the big fight. But this time we get to see some new technology from Iron Man, where he adapted from his mistakes from Endgame. Like always, Iron Man likes to adapt and have bigger and brighter gadgets. And of course, Iron Man wins and beats the Mandarin.
When I first met you, I couldn't believe what a drunk, arrogant scumbag you were.
Oh, really?
And at the end of the movie, we get to see Iron Man save his daughter, and Spider-Man also jumped to the scene, and Iron Man says, "Thank you, Spider-Man." And Spider-Man actually hugs Iron Man, and Iron Man says, "We're not there yet." Iron Man says the exact same thing he said in Spider-Man Homecoming when Peter hugged Tony. And then Nick Fury arrives in the scene, and Tony Stark says to him, "I'd like to retire." And then Tony goes and hugs his wife, his daughter Morgan Stark, and he says to her, "I love you 3000." And Iron Man flies to the sky and disappeared through the sunset. The end. And then for the post-credit scene, we get to see Morgan Stark don her Ironheart suit. That's right. Iron Man gives her a suit and she wears it and she says, "Thanks, Dad." I hope you guys enjoy my pitch for Iron Man 4. If you are the creators of Marvel Studios, if you are Kevin Feige, please consider this idea, steal this idea. We would love to see Iron Man back. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like for more Peach video. Until next time, never give up dreaming.